Hello, my name is Amina and I'm your decision-making specialist. And I just finished listening to an interview with a very famous chef, Jaques Pepin, and I've not met him, and I have followed him forever and studied with his books and classes. And he was talking about when he first started in France. He was 13 years old. His mother had always had restaurants, so he started working in restaurants at various jobs just growing up. And then he got an apprenticeship when he was 13 years old. And he said that then in the place that he was doing an apprenticeship, the restaurant had only a wooden stove. Not electric one, not a gas one, not a propane, wood-fired stove. And so his job in the beginning was to be sure that that fire was just exactly right. So he said that he always had to keep checking it and then adjusting it and then checking it again and adjusting it. So because it wouldn't stay the same, and he had to be sure that it was just at an even temperature as much as possible for the chefs who would do the real cooking. And when he was talking about that, and then he was talking about being a chef, and that what it required was consistency, that when people came to the restaurant, they wanted the same quality, the same type of food, the same look, the same texture, everything. And that it took him a while to learn how to do that. And I was thinking that that's the same thing that we are going through in shelter and going out. And today here is May 15th, 2020, which means it is day 61. And we're just barely peeking out, so we're not anywhere near cutting loose or anything. And wherever you are, whatever stage that your state or country is in, I'm going to offer that it's a bit like Jaques Pepin was talking about that wooden stove. Now, some people are just putting tons of wood in that stove, firing it up. It's getting so hot, they'll stand by it and then they'll go away and come back, and they just keep adding more fire to it. And that's fine as long as they're willing to take the risk of getting burned, of what they want not turning out as good as they would like, and of always having to watch it to be sure there are no fires starting. And then another way to do that stove as we go out is what Jaques Pepin said, which is little bit of wood, check the temperature. Little bit of wood, check the temperature. And that way you don't have to go back and try to pull some of the fiery wood out of the fire, because that doesn't work. And he also talked about the consistency. And so for me, and maybe for you, for all of us, as we go out there, that consistency is really important. That we take it small, go to the same places, and then come back, and that we don't just make such a huge circle that we can't tell where we've been. We want to be sure that what we're doing has a consistency to it, just in case it doesn't turn out the way we want. We know where to self-correct. And that is what a leader, as well as a chef, is able to do. A good leader, and Amina, why are we talking about leadership? Because we're all leaders when we go out there. We're all leaders while we're here. We are totally leaders. We may or may not have a huge company. We may or may not have a huge team. We may or may not have a huge bunch of people around us. Whoever is around us is watching. Now, I don't mean that they've got their little claws out or their little microscope. They may, I don't know, microscope or anything. It just means they're doing like the stove. They're checking. And they're checking how you're doing this. They don't know how to go out there and come back and then go and come. It's brand new to everyone. So what you can do is know that people are checking to see how your stove is doing. Are you just fired up and catching things on fire? Or are you keeping a consistent, steady flame going that they can watch, that they can get close to, that they can follow? And so part of that being a leader are 3 steps, 3 components. One is that, at least in my model, and could be in yours and everybody's, and if it's not, as I always say, don't put it in your toolbox or tuck it away and see if you might like to use it later. For right now, the 3 components are: 1, that a leader looks at things as they are, as they really are at the moment. And that's like checking the temperatures. The stove too hot, too cold? How is it right now? Not what it could be, how it is right now. And so when you go out, how is it there? Take a moment, exhale, check, because we know it's going to be different. In a way, it's going to be overwhelming. In a way, we're not going to really notice because everything looks the same. It's just the operations of it are not the same. And people are all wearing masks and maybe gloves, and they're staying far away. So we really aren't going back. We're really going forward out there. So in order to keep a certain amount of certainty and not have everything so wide open and confusing and uncertain, what to do is to look at it as it is, each little part. Turn the funnel around and look at each little part, because if you have it wide at the top and you're looking through that, can be really overwhelming. And I don't mean you're wimpy or you don't have courage or you don't know what you're doing or you don't be able to think or anything. I don't mean that. I mean inside, unconsciously, it's going to feel different. So in order to stay in your center and be the leader that you want to be for others, and we're leaders for ourselves inside, we're saying, wow, what are we doing? What are we doing? And if we can say, wait a minute, got a plan, I know what to do. So look at it as being real. The second is to look at it, how could it be a little bit better? Remember, it's like the stove. We're just incrementally looking at it. How could it be a little bit warmer? How could it be more of what we'd like to have to feel comfortable without putting so much wood in the fire that we get burnt? So we have the clarity of what it is in reality, not less, not more. Secondly, we have the vision of knowing, it maybe could be a little better, a little easier, a little more comfortable, a little safer, contribute to more health for me and you and everyone is around us, and take a look at that. And then the third is, after you've looked at that, to take some action. Now, that action could be, leave it the way it is. Right now, I need to check more. I need to check the temperature of the stove a little bit more. It could be that you want to back it up a little bit, not put any more wood on the fire until you get used to what's going on as you go out there. And it could be that feels perfectly fine, and I'm going to keep washing my hands, wearing my gloves, wearing my mask, maintaining my social distance, and I feel a little bit better to go ahead and venture out just a little further. Feels okay. So I'm going to venture a little bit further incrementally, see how that is. And then if it doesn't feel and seem safe and healthy, then come back a little bit. That's that small adjustment of the stove that Pepin was talking about. And if that little increment feels well, do that for a while and be sure that the consistency of that temperature, of your safety, of your health, and everyone around you stays. And then you have it. You are a leader with the clarity of what's real, with a vision of how it could be a little bit better, and with the action incrementally so that you're keeping safe and healthy as you do it. So let Jaques Pepin give you the idea of that stove when you go out there, and let that be your leadership tool in your toolbox so that you can write a legacy where you kept safe, you kept healthy, and you helped everyone around you stay safe and healthy too. All right, thanks for coming. Click that subscribe button if you will. Leave a comment. Love to hear from you. I will be back tomorrow. I'll have my hand out, and believe me, I'll be looking for you. Thanks. Bye for now. Take care. Check the stove. Be a leader. Bye.